All right, well, welcome in, everybody. This is another episode. I definitely welcome any newcomers into the stream. Excuse the boom for a second. Get it up to
How
my face.
dare you, Calvin?
Oh
I know,
my goodness, this is
Come
not
on.
good.
Where's your manners?
Excuse me.
They're apparently gone. So today, film. If you have not seen the film, get the hell out,
Please,
now.
for your sake,
Now,
leave.
just to introduce ourselves, because we have been doing some rebranding on the Pop Culture Peasants name. I am your co-host, Reed McKinney. This is...
Just Calvin159 coming straight at you.
I was looking for more of a last name, first name thing, but that's fine.
Oh, Calvin Carson.
Well, my name is Jeremy Swinbush. I'm also a co-host as well. So, yeah.
And we have the lovely Destiny in studio as well.
Yep.
She will be listening in. So this is the first time we are appearing as the Pop Culture Peasants.
Hello.
PCP, of course, is the abbreviation. Come get
Hashtag
you a
it.
quick hit of that PCP.
Well, don't actually.
Hashtag P.
Pop C.
Pop C, yeah. Hashtag Pop C.
That works.
Because
and-
we're dealing with a little bit of, the legal lingo, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. We don't we don't want to go to jail. We
Bearing
love
that
you
in
guys.
mind, this will be our name going forward. Commenting on comics is, of course, still going to be a regular segment on the show.
Yep.
We also have some ideas as far as other segments, remake roundup being one of them, things like that. What am I turning?
No. Just turn your voice down.
Oh, my voice? Is my voice too booming? Am I
Just a
coming to
little
your
bit.
ears?
We're a little bit too booming because you don't have mic booms.
Well, fair
Kidding.
enough.
I'm kidding. They're coming.
We're coming.
So,
We're-
we are going
I'm
to
sorry.
have other segments
I'm sorry. Whoa, hold
coming
on.
in.
Yep.
It's 10 o'clock.
As the weeks roll on. This Thursday, we are planning on doing a gaming stream of 7 days to die.
Oh,
So
yeah.
look forward to
First
that
time
on
playing
Twitch.
with any of us. I believe Jermis has maybe put less than an hour in. I put maybe.
I put like
10 minutes.
-1 minute.
And then Reed, he
I have
literally
put
downloaded
in no time at all.
it. So, yeah.
So you will
Oh,
be seeing
so
the
we'll-
raw, uncut
The true
entrance into that game for
true
me.
experience
My
of
first
it.
We're all
foray.
gonna have to find ourselves. I did a little bit of testing on my own with a couple different friends online, and it spawns you in different corners of the map.
Oh, that's
from
gonna
each
be
other.
fun.
So
it's going to be a matter of finding each other and then linking up to be
Yep.
able to survive.
so we all came here for one reason.
Absolutely.
We came. I'm actually gonna hand the mic off to Jermis to start us off because both me and Reed here, we
We
saw
have
it before.
previously seen this film.
They sinned. That's what I'm gonna
I
say.
didn't sin. I
They
got it for
sinned.
$4.50. You can't beat
They
that.
sinned. No matter what, they
We wanted
sinned.
to make sure that we were able to see it with Jeremy so that we could hear his thoughts first and foremost. However, with the benefit of hindsight, we are able to notice things that we didn't necessarily see the first time. So we're going to be able to comment on certain Easter eggs that we didn't pick up the first viewing. But handing it off
I
to
didn't see
Jeremy,
those.
I would like to know what your thoughts are as far as the film and how it turned out in your
Well, first off, I didn't cry, so that's a
That's a good start.
that's a good start. A lot of people I knew cried, but I think overall, I think what I wanted the movie to be.
We fucked up? Don't tell me we're all on mute, Calvin.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so now you're telling me to raise my voice.
Oh my goodness! Cutscene.
Good Lord, Calvin. What is it? What is it you want from me?
Cutscene.
First I'm too loud, and now I'm too soft.
I'm sorry.
What is it you want from me, sir?
I don't think. I don't think you know.
All right.
Hear me.
So is it? So have we been adjusted now?
Yeah, everything's perfectly fine.
All right, coming
Okay.
back in.
I mean, I'm just gonna lean in and do like I have
Yeah,
been
I
doing.
think
This is the
that's
best way to
that's
do
fine
it.
for me.
And
So
really, the only microphone that's a little bit of a problem is Jermis's.
Ladoodle cakes.
That way. We're actually going to keep this all in the video because you couldn't hear me talking. The only person you can hear talking is Reed. So thank you for listening on. Now back to Jermis, what you were saying?
So, Jeremis, your thoughts on Infinity War?
Okay, so as I said, I didn't cry. So that's a good sign.
Mhm.
I'm sorry, Calvin.
You know what? Just because I'm an emotional person, you
It's-
can pick on me.
There's nothing wrong with that. I'm not saying there's any problems, but I will say I think the way I expected the movie to go, it actually did. I like that a lot. This is actually, I mean, I'm pretty sure there are other movies out there. This is actually the first one I've seen where it seems like the bad guy just killed it,
Yeah,
and
he
he
won.
actually
Straight up won.
just won.
Yeah, 120%.
I know. Some people may think I'm supposed to hate Thanos,
Wrong hand.
but I kind of like Thanos.
His backing behind what he's doing is 100% correct. I mean, he had all reason to want to do this atrocity to the galaxy,
Yeah.
and he's right. You know, if half the people were dead on the planet, mass genocide, things like that, most civil and economic problems will be.
Right. I think it's one of those things that it makes you think on a different perspective than the normal, because most people would be like, "Oh, that's wrong. You're not supposed to do that." But when you listen to his concept, you're like, "Well, you know what? That actually kind of makes sense."
He's not just coming at it from a psychopathic.
Right. He's coming at it from
he's thought this whole
experience.
thing
Yeah.
through.
Yeah. He's seen, what it was like before and after, and he believes that doing that.
With his planet being destroyed, you can imagine when he was a young Titan happened. When he was still pretty much a halfling in his culture. He was still, I think, in the comics was 12 when the atrocity happened, and he was like their savior. He was the one that came to them with this idea of killing off half of the planet to save everyone else. It's very valiant, and it's very I'm not going to say proper, but it's definitely a good idea for
His planet.
It's more tragic than it's built up by other people.
Right. Yeah.
Without a doubt.
because of the fact that the Avengers, they're the heroes of the universe, and they're like the good guys, but technically he has good intentions. He's just like every other villain that makes sense. So there's different levels of villains. There's assholes with guns, there's idiots with knives, there's also assholes with giant weaponry threatening to destroy the world just to own it and not save anyone. And then there's, of course, god-level villains, technically.
Right,
Like
yeah.
heroes.
He's not doing any of this just for the sake of itself.
Yeah,
that's
it almost seems like he doesn't necessarily want to, but he's like,
he has to.
I have to.
Yeah,
because he's like, you'll appreciate it, and yeah, you may hate me now, but you'll appreciate it later on.
And during his, by the way, did we mention spoilers? Like, for God's sake,
Yeah.
It'll be in the title.
During the moment where he sacrifices Gamora for the sake of the
Yeah,
Soul
I think that was
Stone,
like, whoa.
That was crying point.
I think at that
that
point-
look on his face and his mannerisms and the way that he approached that was
I don't
like,
want to.
look,
Yeah.
this is hurting me. Like this.
Yeah,
is,
this sucks.
And what I'm doing is something that requires an inordinate amount of willpower, and it's not something that I'm, excited about doing or looking forward to by any means. And
And I think that kind of gives me a respect for it, because it's like, in a lot of movies, you don't, like, people say, oh, do this to me if something happens, and people can't find the power to do it. And he was actually able to find the power, as much as it truly did hurt him.
As much as it just
he was doing it because he thought
this is what he knows is best for the galaxy.
And I think that gave me a new respect for him, definitely.
Now, when it comes to the savior aspect's a big thing with him. He believes that what he is doing is saving the universe, and right in a way.
Yeah.
And this mean, when you look at it, there's two people that believe what they're doing is saving the world. There's Vision, and then there's freaking Thanos.
Right.
And when Thanos does it, he sacrifices his daughter, his literal daughter,
whom he loved a lot.
Yeah. But with Vision,
He didn't care much for the other one, but he did care for her.
Oh yeah, that's why. Giant pile of scrap.
That was insane. I was like, oh, poor thing.
And he was really talking that sass to her at the end of the movie. He was like, what a waste of parts that was.
Yeah.
So, I'm not
she
wasting
was the
those
disappointment
parts.
of the
Come
family.
on.
Yeah.
So
we know how that life went.
What did you think of Doctor Strange?
Okay, so I didn't really like him towards the very end. Like I kind of like I think I do understand what he was doing, because I remember in the movie he was talking about he saw different realities. So I'm thinking, well, he went to the future. He has to have a reason for this. It's not just, oh, I'm just doing this because.
And the way he was talking by saying like this was the only way, when he was talking to
that's
Iron Man
that's
at
what
the
I'm
end.
thinking. Like there's more to it than just that.
Which would mean that even in his plan, like in the one out of like what 16
million, I think he said,
million, whatever the amount of possibilities, that possibility still required that everybody else,
had to be sacrificed.
That's still part of the plan. So
that's what I'm thinking. Like, okay, yeah, there's something more to
and
this.
it required him to fade away as well. By the way,
he knew it was going to happen. Now, what I was mentioning in the car ride on the way back, between the weeps of sorrow and crying again, the tears, fighting back tears. I mentioned to Reed that during that moment where he's off the stone to Thanos, did you notice he spoke some and held onto the stone very cautiously?
I now looking back, kind of did.
If you trace back all the way to Doctor Strange's film, what was it, last year before?
I think it was last year.
It was
last
like
year.
Last year, year before or something.
Back at that, he makes a deal with Dormammu that is not spoken.
Oh, okay. All
now,
right.
We mentioned this last time as well.
Yeah.
Another god-level villain. Someone that is literally consuming the cosmos, planet by planet, universe by universe. He is an almighty being. Now, he is above the Soul Stone. He was there before the Big Bang. He was the all-consuming darkness.
It's like Top God.
Top God, yeah.
Okay.
So the chances of that happening, coming into
He's
the
like,
universe,
you think I care about your damn Infinity Gems?
Right.
he's gonna just
Piece of
really
trash.
crap out of
You
him.
can't do it. Watch this. Boom.
Or it had nothing to do with the pact, and it was a timer on the time stone. Automatic reset, just like your DVR. It records something, and if you want to go back,
The time
because the
stone
Infinity
is
Stones aren't
akin to the
they're not
DVR,
necessarily
folks.
destroyed. It's just the gauntlet.
the gauntlet is damaged, but the stones themselves
Are still good.
have the power to reverse what happened.
Right.
And the fact that the Game of Thrones dude, what is his name?
Oh, Peter Dinklage.
Peter
Which,
Dinklage.
by the way, a surprising turn as a 20-foot-tall dwarf.
I know, right? That was
didn't guess
interesting.
that.
That was interesting.
Very-
I
a
thoroughly
very
enjoyed
fun
that. I
little
thoroughly
ironic
enjoyed
twist
that.
there.
You know what I didn't enjoy? The infant in the theater the whole time.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
Oh,
that
that
I
was
could've
funny.
done without.
That was funny.
So
That I could've done
nothing
without.
against Cinemark or any of their affiliates, but when three people come in there arguing about a infant crying,
Yeah, I
during
heard the
film,
guys in the back, they were like yelling something too.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my
yeah,
goodness.
the manager had to come in 3 times, and he's like, "Well, all 3 times I heard." I was like, "If 3 people have approached you about this,
There's a
it's
problem. Yeah, they're just not
So,
lying on you.
the mom knows when to shut the kid up." So
And it's
she gets
not
what she wants.
it's not a matter of not liking kids. It's just a
really
matter of like
respect.
I paid $10 to see this movie.
Yeah, it's
so did my
a
two-
respectful
so
thing.
did
You know,
my
if your
3
baby
people
cries,
that came with
respectfully
me.
leave.
Yep.
So did all 40 of the other people that were in this theater besides this woman and her baby.
Right.
So
Like
it's kind of like
even the courtesy in the sticky floor theater that I went to in Carolina, where I spent $4 on the ticket, people were better. Where was I? I was talking about the reverse button on the time zone. Sorry, I got sidetracked by
It's
baby.
okay. Back to topic.
so easy to forget.
Yes. Yes. Now that's a problem. The thing is, not many people are thinking about Doctor Strange's power except the time stone, which
He has more power besides the time stone.
yeah, he has almost infinite power because he can unlock the power of the universe. Now the fact that the stones that Thanos has can reverse all of his magic, and I don't know why he didn't use that power to tap all of Doctor Strange's magic in the
Interesting.
ultimate fight, but it's something else. The reverse button could actually happen. We can actually have Doctor Strange, I mean, in that brief moment where he's holding the time stone,
Mm-hmm.
he could have put a spell on it, just like he had on the necklace where Squidward, what was...
I don't know. Squidward.
Yeah.
Okay.
When he grabbed onto it, he could have done something that would have just
because not all of his magic is active. Like he can put spells on there that just stay on an object.
That gives me another cons. Wasn't Thor's lightning or the power being drained from the Infinity Stones destroying the gauntlet. It could have been an attempt of Doctor Strange's spell to destroy the gauntlet after the gem was put. I haven't thought about that.
Even before he snapped?
It was probably starting to do it as he was snapping. As that power was being tapped and the spell just didn't take fast enough. So now
if that isn't the way that they eventually take him down in the second movie, the only other option that I could think of, and this has been done in the comics, is Thanos is so preposterously overpowered now that the only way you can actually get the gauntlet off of him or get him to relinquish even some of his power is to convince him that he's nothing without it, or make a plea for his humanity. Or you're basically appealing to some part of his personality to give up that power long enough to fight the Avengers and get the gauntlet off of him.
Is he is very prideful, and I see where you're coming from. Even in the comics and all of the alternate realities that he's in, he is very prideful about his strength. And even in that moment where he's talking to Stark, all of that for a bit of blood.
Yeah,
that was very
very prideful.
Now we're not going into 7 Deadly Sins, which is epic as well. I loved it. But
look at Calvin expanding his horizons.
Good job.
I'm not an anime ver. So his pride is going to get the best of him. I know that because once they bring in another spoiler, Captain Marvel and Adam Warlock, so we're going to see some big
both of whom are almost guaranteed to be in the second movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Almost 100% guaranteed. Now the problem with the timeline that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is using is the fact that the Soul Stone was not in Adam Warlock, but I can let that go. I appreciated what they did, bringing back Red Skull, one of my favorite villains. He was, in my opinion, another god level.
His role in this movie is so cool.
It was. I thought it was Lady Death.
At first, they do kind of trick you. They do that little silhouette, him fading out as he comes
closer to you. It's like
Spectre. Oh. So it was kind of like baiting. But as soon as you hear Hugo Weaving's buttery voice, you're
right. You're like, that's not it. Yeah.
Not a lady.
that it's too buttery smooth.
He can make pears take off their clothes.
I'm really glad that they brought him back. And Calvin doesn't think that he'll play a role going forward, but I think he probably will.
When the stones come into question, he probably will be. Even though he's like eternally
evil. I don't think he'll be the keeper of the stones. I think he'll somehow be transported back to Earth.
Possibly to become another villain. But
sure.
Now another conversation we need to have about this movie. Marvel. Captain Marvel is coming back, and I don't know what her villain will be when she has her personal, because her film is taking place back in the 90s.
Oh, they're coming out with a film?
Yeah, they have to introduce her character.
Captain Marvel.
Okay,
and she's going to be involved in the second Infinity War movie.
For sure. That would make sense.
So.
Oh yeah, you know what? I'm sorry. Yeah, I looked at the timeline of movies that were coming out. Yeah, of course.
Nick Fury, that little transponder that he was using had Captain Marvel's logo on it.
Well, now looking back, I did look at the timeline of movies, and I did see Captain Marvel was a movie. So that makes sense.
Actually, a gentleman that we work with brought up this to me, and I hadn't even considered it. Everett Ross, Bilbo Baggins, Martin Freeman. His character is a former Air Force pilot, and now he's a CIA agent. Back in the 90s, that would have been the exact time when he was an Air Force pilot.
Oh, we lost video.
Lost video?
Lost videos. Back over to the camera and try to fix that.
I'll let Calvin do all that monkey business.
Moment. Talking, keep talking.
But Everett Ross was an Air Force pilot at that time back in the 90s, which would have to mean that he was in the Air Force at the same time as Captain Marvel was in the Air Force.
Right.
So he's probably going to be associated with her. And not only that, but Nick Fury, this raises another question. Captain Marvel is almost certainly not on Earth, because if she was, then why wouldn't Nick Fury have called her in the first Avengers movie when the aliens were invading and there was this whole, like, the world is ending type event? He almost certainly would have, called upon Captain Marvel in a crisis like that. But since he didn't, she's probably not on Earth.
Probably not.
Wherever she is, though, that transponder hopefully will reach her and she'll be able to help out the Avengers by the time the second movie rolls around.
I mean,
did our camera die? No, yes?
Yes.
Yeah, or yes, no?
Yes.
Okay.
we're experiencing some technical difficulties.
It seems we can't even escape these types of difficulties, even when we're not live.
Not even a live stream could stop
We're
these.
not even doing a live show, and we're still finding our way into these
Kurt
little
said that
burrows of
USB
difficulty.
3.0
Yes.
speed needed to run this beautiful 4K camera.
Yeah. Such is the nature of entertainment. But overall, I think that aside from one of my theories, I was completely wrong. The only theory that I was right about in this movie was Loki dying in the first 10
Yeah,
to
that
15
was.
minutes. I said that in the last show. Stuck to my guns.
Now seeing it, it actually makes kind of.
I mean, I'll take credit for that much, but
Yeah,
I mean,
it was kind of like.
everybody that died with the exception. Also, I was like, no. I thought that they were going to kill off.
hmm
Thor was kind of a maybe.
The way he entered there, I was like, he's probably not going nowhere.
You thought, or at the beginning?
No, when he came in at Wakanda,
Oh,
I was like, okay, he's probably not gonna go nowhere at that point.
Yeah.
That was just too good of a scene to just let him die.
They can't kill him.
You can't kill him there.
Yeah.
But I kind of did have my thoughts. I was like, I don't think Thor necessarily. I honestly thought the Hulk would die, and he didn't die. So
There was no Hulk.
That's one of
that is true. There was no Hulk.
disappointments.
It was super Iron Man.
Was never really.
Yeah, no, he was like involved in the first scene.
But
Yeah.
that has actual
Is my mic
reason.
coming in?
Yeah, your mic's coming in. No, it's not coming in.
More difficulties. Please stand by.
Or is this?
Check.
I think that's me. Yeah, that's me.
I was the one at the very top.
Ow!
I'll,
This is what happens.
I need to take that this time home. Oh God.
Again? Oh no, you don't plug it.
Yeah.
Steam Deck just lit up.
Awesome. Ah, that water.
Go ahead.
Unmute it. Okay.
Yelling him. Oh.
Yelling and
Mine looks like the only one. Yeah, mine is still going. Lit AF. Excuse me. You didn't hear that. Please stand by. We're having
Go ahead and talking to my mic. Mic check. Go ahead and talking to the mic.
mic check. My tush is gonna be rock hard with this chair.
I'm all the way down.
Yeah. Talk, Reed.
It's because it's the white mic. White mic, you just had to have the problems. Should have got the platinum. Yeah, you got to use my messed up one, unfortunately.
Unplug.
Oh, you know what we do? You had to get one from work. I don't know. You would think, as nice as the mics are, Oh. No, that was mine.
Just took mine off mute. Is that mine up there?
Yeah.
Okay, so mine is on.
Good.
Right.
Hope so.
Have to do it without video? Oh, fair enough, man. Guess until the desktop gets fixed.
Just
That's
replace
way it is.
just replace the video with a nice picture. In
Yeah, we'll do a nice-
editing software, that'll be good.
I mean, if it's taxing too much power, then the camera isn't really essential.
Yeah, and then she'll be ready. Because if you think about it too, if you plan on doing like multiple webcams, yeah.
Which, I mean, ideally, that's what we would eventually do.
Yeah,
Yeah, we're good
anyway.
now. We have
Yeah.
all 3 microphones going.
Cool beans.
So yeah, we're just gonna have to get. Sorry about the momentary pause. We're gonna edit all of that out. We're sorry about issue. Right now we're using a laptop still for.
Had a little bit of mic difficulty.
Technical difficulties,
It was
but we're back.
mainly video difficulty. It wasn't
Well,
even the microphone.
well,
Video.
yeah, sure, but
Darn
the mics
that
went
USB
out, so.
3.
Yeah, we're gonna return J5 now because it's crap. But
We're gonna go ahead
figure
and
it out.
burn that bridge.
Yeah, we're gonna burn that bridge.
No, we
We're
don't
gonna
need your
burn the crap
no
out of that
sponsors.
bridge.
Now, the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and order the RAM for the computer and the video card.
Indeed.
So, once we get paid Friday, we're
That will be the next step.
Sounds like a plan.
okay.
Which shouldn't really affect us as far as the gaming stream
No,
is concerned.
We're using our independent units for gaming. We're gonna go ahead and use my laptop, his laptop, and whatever you play. So
We'll see. It'll be a surprise.
it'll be a surprise. So, and then we won't have to worry about setting up like a freaking tripod or anything like that. We can just use the cameras that we already have existing.
And
So-
eventually we'll get a DSLR to be doing the video and audio recording that we're going to be going forward with as
You're gonna
well.
like that crisp audio.
Yep.
However, we will need the desktop for that. So
Any donations is also much appreciated since we don't have any revenue right now when it comes to this podcast. But we definitely appreciate anything that you can help out with. So, back to the topic of the Infinity Wars, though. Jermis, you were saying?
What was I saying?
That's a good question.
I don't remember.
Thanos being a very, very well realized character.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough for me to say he's a villain. I mean, I know there's different villains, level of villains, but it's just like almost like it's like two good people going against each other with different beliefs.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I feel.
Just like a religion, Catholics versus Christians.
He kind of broke the curse as far as I see of the Marvel villain.
yeah, like
slump.
just a bad guy.
I mean, that was their weakest link, and as far as their formula was concerned, and he pretty much broke the.
I think that's why I
kind
kind of liked it a lot because it wasn't just the typical movie that I've at least seen. It was something different. Like the quote unquote bad guy actually does what he planned out to do, and it looks like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness, what are we gonna do? But at the same time, it's like, oh my goodness, this guy actually makes a lot of sense, and then it makes you think like, wait a minute, is he? How bad of a guy really is he? Is he just a guy who just has a belief and he's just looking to, show?
And Josh Brolin is a really good choice for him.
Yeah, he did a good job as Thanos.
He has a really good turn as a villain. I'm looking forward to seeing what he does as Cable in Deadpool as well.
Oh yeah, I keep forgetting that he.
That's going to.
Oh, that's
yeah,
gonna be
he's
interesting.
playing-
He's
He's playing
watch that
two
trailer
big
again.
villains, air quotes. I know Cable isn't, strictly speaking, a villain.
I have a feeling that him and Deadpool are going to become friends before the very end.
Sure.
It's gonna be fun.
And the end of the movie is going to be the introduction of a big supervillain, and they're going to make fun of how Batman versus Superman totally
Oh
did
my
that.
god, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah,
And
not to
then
bring
didn't
up
actually-
that turd, but it's only for the sake of making.
It was just a
making
temporary
Deadpool
plug-in.
joke. Yeah,
Temporary
sure.
plug-in.
Temporary. So
Sure. but that's something to look forward to.
Yeah, I also now that you guys talked a little bit more about Doctor Strange, now I'm starting to realize he's got a bigger part in it than it.
He has a bigger plan behind everything.
In it, yeah. Because now thinking that he has the ability, he was able to see into the future. I know now it's like, okay, he definitely has a bigger plan than what it seems. So I don't think he's going. Even though he seems gone, I don't think he's really.
And that's
really
one of the things that kind of threw me for a loop at the end. Like I said earlier, we were all pretty much completely wrong on our predictions or death toll predictions.
Oh, definitely.
But everybody that faded away at the end was kind of like the opposite of what I thought,
right?
Who I thought would be, fading away.
Which I mean, I have to give a shout out to Spider-Man's dramatic ending. I think that was hilarious.
Falcon, Scarlet Witch, Strange, pretty much all the Guardians with the exception of Rocket.
Or Groot.
Of course, Gamora. She was done by the middle of the movie.
Yeah.
A very depressing, but a very fateful end to her character, I guess. Going along with that, Star-Lord is like the anti-MVP of this whole movie.
He pissed the hell off of me.
I had buddies of mine that I saw the movie with the first time who yelled out "Fuck you, Star-Lord!" You ruined everything.
I mean, he literally did. Okay, I can understand you're mad, and I really feel like she shouldn't have said nothing.
His anger is totally righteous, but dude, just wait 30 more seconds. They had the gauntlet. They had it to the point where he had to grip the gauntlet from the cuff end of it
in order to get it. It was
it was off of his hand. They almost had it. He wasn't even balling up his hand in a fist.
I was why did you tell him that? Because I'm like, dude, do you not think before you do that? I'm like, we literally had it right there.
Yeah, I guess part of me does kind of blame Nebula for that because it's
I still think Nebula's fighting for the wrong team in a way. She wants to see the world burn just as much as Thanos does.
Do you think she's secretly trading? She's got a plan behind all this?
She wants to kill Thanos for herself, I think.
Sure, but I mean, she should know damn well. Don't tell him that. Tell him that 30 seconds later.
What if she did that on purpose, maybe?
Yeah.
She might have.
Because think about it. They had Thanos right there, and she knew.
You think that she did that just so that
intentionally.
she would be the one to kill him later?
Right, because think about it. If Calvin's saying that she wants Thanos to herself, she doesn't want anybody else to take him down.
It ain't going to be like Star-Lord and them comboed. And even then, there's no guarantee that they would have been able to kill him. But if they would have gotten the gauntlet off of him,
it would have given you a better chance.
Then somebody could have put the gauntlet on, and then it would have been a wrap.
Yeah, it would have been over.
Or they would have been destroyed in a fiery mist.
Well, no. See, I don't believe that because the gauntlet, the whole point of the Infinity Gauntlet is it harnesses the power of the stones and gives it.
The only other person that was able to wield the Infinity Gauntlet, there were two people: Captain America and Iron Man.
Nebula wielded it in the comics. She kills Thanos with it. Yeah, but look, the whole thing about the Infinity Gauntlet is a normal being that is not hyper powerful can't hold it.
The only other person that I think this is actually going to happen, Star-Lord, him being half god, pretty much, he's going to wield the Infinity Gauntlet and off Thanos.
I don't think Star-Lord is the right person to do it.
He's not, but I believe that Marvel's going to do that because he's the fan favorite right now. Him and Black Panther, and I know they ain't going to give Black Panther the power.
I don't think that Star-Lord is the fan favorite right now.
Groot is.
Maybe, but
it's Groot.
Especially not after this movie. After this movie, people are going to be like, man, fuck you, Star-Lord.
I'm about to say, if you like Star-Lord after this, he literally
ruined everything.
He sabotaged it. Come on.
One shot at beating this guy.
You got to think about it. Yeah. If Destiny was, say, Thanos' daughter, and he threw her off of
I mean, of course, yeah. I mean,
you would feel a lot of anguish and pain.
Yeah, of course. I'm not saying that he was necessarily wrong. I'm saying okay, he didn't really think it through, but I understand that why he didn't think it through. Yeah. So I mean, it's understandable. And at the same time,
but he's irrational.
His anger blinded him.
Yeah, he got the best of him.
His half-human side gave his emotions a ticket, and they took it and they rode with it for 3 hours down the hike.
Pretty much.
So yeah,
they did put up a damn good fight against Thanos.
That was an excellent fight. But when Thanos got out of there, boy, when he grabbed that moon and
as soon as
meteor,
I'm not gonna lie, I was a bit disappointed because I honestly hoped that he was gonna rip that moon out of the sky.
That's what I thought too.
And cast it down.
I thought it was just gonna come straight down to the planet. I was like,
and he rips off shards of it, and I'm like, that's kind of cool, I guess. But if he would have literally ripped a moon out of the sky, I would have been like, oh, that would have.
That's what I honestly thought because when it hard, I was like, oh, this is about to get bad. And he just shards. I was like.
The whole thing about the Infinity Gauntlet is it grants you infinite power. So fucking pull that moon out of the sky.
Come watch
on now.
this.
So they went for the safer route on that. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's not the biggest deal.
It's cool. It was so pretty.
The
it
fight
was
at the end with Wakanda was really
They
satisfying.
saved
awesome.
literally the best for last, and
They
our
did.
timeline guessing was.
Well, I was
way
completely
off.
wrong. I'm fine saying that I was completely wrong.
Like the fact that we were like, oh yeah, Wakanda's
I thought that Wakanda was going to be in the middle of the movie and New York would be at the end.
the final, yeah.
Because of the whole, like, well, the first Avengers, the battle at New York was the very end, and I thought Thanos would make that kind of like a symbolic,
again, yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, you beat me here before, but I'm going to beat you here now,
right.
type deal.
And you know what makes no sense? In the first Avengers, his throne room is in the middle of space, and then in this film, it's actual.
It's on a ship.
It's on a ship.
Relocation.
I mean, maybe he did a little
He
bit
did
of.
a little work. He's like, okay, I can't do this in space.
They called his space location Sanctuary 2 in one of the movies. I can't remember if I think it was Guardians 1.
Possibly.
I think it was.
We'll have to watch all the films again.
Sure, we'll have to review to make sure, but and then of course his throne is on a ship, so there's a little bit of continuity confusion there, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Once again, not the biggest deal in the world, but I knew in my bones that Loki was going to die in the first 10 minutes.
First 10 minutes, 100.
I knew I had a buddy of mine that was doubting me, like, no, Reed, he'll die long before the fighting, but first 10 minutes, I mean, come on. Like,
and lo and behold.
like, no,
Lo and
man,
behold,
that's
that
choking
that's
him
the
out.
way.
that next that was ooh.
That's the
Whoever
way that
the makeup
movie,
artist in this, whoever she was or he was, they did an excellent job
Excellent
on the
job.
eye
Yeah,
strain.
they did.
Like just the contacts or just the fake blood that they had to put in his eyes. 100%.
Yeah, it was
what
good.
a choking victim would look.
Yeah, and I mean that's the
I'm not
movie.
saying that I've seen it.
That's the yeah. Careful, Calvin. You're gonna give yourself away.
More theories.
That's the way that the movie sort of showed us that it wasn't effing around.
Yeah, I wasn't playing. It was
kind of like, hey, this character that you've known for years and years since the very first Avengers movie, or since the first Thor movie, actually.
his like his little last stand. It's like,
Yeah, it's like you see his
I will save
his
you, brother.
pitiful last stand at that.
I will save you, brother. I'm just like, low key, come on, man. Yeah, I was like, okay, he got a win. Then when he did that, now I'm like, oh yeah, you're done. This is it.
Yeah, no.
I'm like, all right.
Yeah, Loki.
Good job, Loki.
Met a very
I hope
painful
nobody cried at
end.
the very beginning. No, why Loki?
I was expecting him to go on a little bit longer, like to try and like use some subterfuge on Thanos. As far like, hey, I can help. When he said like, hey, if you're going to Earth, you need a guide.
Mhm.
I thought that would last a little bit longer. And I was like, crap,
he'd
I'm
finally
wrong.
get there.
And then he immediately tries to stab him. I'm like, damn, Loki.
I'm
That
like,
was
yeah,
the wrong move.
maybe Loki
That
just
was-
knew.
that was
Maybe
the
Loki
wrong
knew
move.
he
It's
was
like,
gonna die.
Wait
So
a little bit longer until you try and stab him behind his back.
maybe
if you
Loki
wanna
knew
do
that he was
anything.
gonna die anyway. So he's just like, all right, well, I can't do much, but I'm gonna do this anyway.
Yeah, I guess so. I expected a little bit more of like, is Loki like, is he playing for our team or is he going? I expected a little bit more out of
And
that.
to be
but
honest, I kind of expected him to play for the other team in a way.
yeah, for at least a time.
Yeah.
So just a wee
and then
bit.
find his pride and be like, oh wait, no, this is wrong. But no, just
Yeah.
spoiler alert.
Honestly,
Yeah,
I didn't expect
Loki.
that last one to be so small though. I thought it was gonna be a little bigger because of the way they had the gauntlet sized. I was like, oh, this is actually the right one. Okay.
As me and Calvin were saying on the ride home, there are certain characters that are just dead.
Dead.
Like dead permanently. Like Loki is probably dead permanently. Gamora almost for
Yeah.
sure.
Even though I believe that maybe Disney will play some protagonist.
Vision.
That would be weird.
Vision
know
is
it's
probably
Yeah,
dead.
Vision. Well, because he didn't fade, did he?
No,
Oh,
yeah, so he's
We're
dead.
saying- we're
Yeah,
saying
he's
that
definitely
skull
dead.
ripped out.
We're saying that
Yeah, that was-
everyone that
oof.
didn't fade away at the end is it's permadeath.
Yeah, because technically they're not dead; they just faded from existence.
Yeah.
So they're not.
Whereas
And in
everybody
all-
that was killed is
Yeah, they're
and
literally
in all
dead.
likelihood, the ones that if they're following the comics, which I believe they are, the souls of the victims of any of the Infinity Gauntlet's victims are trapped within the Soul Stone.
That gives me an idea of how they're going to bring everybody back in another way, other than, Thanos being like, oh, you have bested me, I'll return everyone back to life. There's an option where the Soul Stone will be broken from the gauntlet and destroyed, and all of the souls
Will
and
be able to
people
escape.
will be
Escape.
returned to existence.
Mhm.
Now, I have an idea where Stan Lee will be in the next film. He's sweeping up the remains of everybody, the freaking leaf ash off the ground.
Yeah.
Right.
I think that that's a pretty good guess. Like I said, I think that they're going to have to goad Thanos into being like, oh, well, you couldn't, like, look at how powerful you are now. You couldn't beat all of us. Like, if you brought back all of our friends, you couldn't beat us if you tried, even with all of this power. And, you know, trying to appeal to his pride, if nothing else.
Get his pride going for him.
Either that, or they're going to say, well, even with this power, you're inadequate. You know, you think you're God and you're not. They're just going to they're going to try and internally
get him
cause turmoil,
like,
because
okay.
there's no way that you could beat him externally. It's just absolutely impossible.
Because they could also play on the fact that he thinks that the fact that he's wiping out half of a population, everybody should appreciate it. So you could play on that too.
He's gonna probably try to play the God card on Earth first, and then everywhere else. Be like, I have liberated all of you. I can't do his get what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, where he's like, I want to watch the sunrise on a grateful universe, and if the universe isn't grateful,
I'm gonna be in
hell.
Then it's like that kill it,
full psychopath and just say, well,
he might try to destroy everything and create his own.
You weren't appreciative. You don't deserve it.
I believe the planet he's on is Titan, which was in one of his comics, one of the very first comics.
The planet where he's on at the very end, watching the sunrise in the shack.
That could be Titan too.
Yeah, it may very well be.
Which the axis is perfectly in tune. It's a direct copy of Titan, or it could be Titan with the Reality Stone warped in his favor. So there's a couple different options.
So you think he might be on the same planet as Iron Man and Nebula, just with the reality gem just painted over it?
Yeah,
that would make a lot of sense. That would make a lot of sense.
Well, it wouldn't even really be painted over it, because with the reality gem, he is making reality what it is. It's not like it's a fake. It's just what he's making it.
Which would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I mean, going back to his roots and things. But all in all, this movie 1 out of 10.
If I was to rate it on a scale,
yeah,
I'd probably give it a solid 8. I would say it's by no means the best written Marvel movie. I think that title still goes to Captain America: Winter Soldier. I know you're not as big of a fan.
I'm not a big fan of Winter Soldier, but it was good.
Movies. In my opinion, as a Captain America fan, bearing that in mind, I think the Winter Soldier is still the best written one. But this one is very good. It's very satisfying. It's very emotionally exhausting. It's the longest Marvel movie, and by the time you get out of it, you feel like you've
whoa.
gotten off
of a
cry,
you will tonight.
As you sleep.
Oh, dude, when I was in bed the night after I saw it, I was like, "Oh God,
it's gonna be a dream. You're gonna dream about
a lot of the characters that you've known for years
just gone
just
like that,
wiped out." Gone. So,
but we'll be seeing some new faces.
It didn't,
which surprises me.
It didn't happen the way that I thought it would, because I thought a lot more of them would die in battle.
And versus
like
just
fighting Thanos and his army.
Yeah.
I didn't think that many of them would just become, would just vanish like they did. But what would you guys rate it on a scale of 1 to 10?
What did you give it?
I gave it a solid 8.
Solid 8? What about you, Truman?
I'd probably say 8 as well.
Why?
I mean, I thought it was good. I do feel like there were certain characters in there I just didn't care. They really didn't. To me, they didn't need.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it was like, I don't like the guy with the one arm. I didn't really care for him.
You didn't care about Bucky?
Yeah, I didn't care.
So
I mean,
for you, it kind of got a little crowded.
It wasn't personal.
Yeah, it wasn't. It was just like, we were focused on all these other characters, and then I just randomly just adding.
There's a lot of cooks in the kitchen in this movie.
Yeah, but they needed that though. When you think about it, because on the mass scale of this battle, that battle in Wakanda, it was ginormous. Over maybe 2-3 million of those dog creatures.
Thing, yeah, it was a lot of people coming.
I'm gonna have to figure out the name of those things. I knew them at one time.
They do have a proper name,
so I'll figure that out before the next stream.
But when you look back and you think, like we mentioned this on the previous episode, there are 76 speaking roles, I believe,
which means they're focused on in.
And in terms of heroes, I have to imagine that there's a good. What would you say, like 30, maybe not 30 major heroes, obviously not major heroes.
But A to D class.
A to D list heroes, there's probably a good, like, between 25 and 30.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I'm
overall,
really kind of impressed about is the fact that Ant-Man and what is his name?
Hawkeye.
Hawkeye wasn't in the film.
They were conspicuously absent. So was Valkyrie as well.
Oh my God! I need to bring that up.
Valkyrie was listed in the credits, and Tessa Thompson is accredited for being in the movie. Perhaps it's a deleted scene, but I thought that she would be in the movie. Ant-Man and Hawkeye, I thought that Hawkeye would definitely be in there, but Ant-Man I figured wouldn't be because they're doing Ant-Man and Wasp.
Which I believe is before or during the Thanos attacks, because it has been rumored that he'll be in the next film.
They'll definitely be in the next one. And the thing about it, see, this makes me feel more comfortable in saying this. I think that they will end up bringing all the heroes back. That way we can see, because part of the reason why this movie kind of
and he may be bringing back his Death Squad as well.
The Black Order.
Yeah.
Which still would be cool because you would get rematches between different heroes, and you could get different matchups between them. But it kind of left me feeling a bit empty because in this movie, a lot of the heroes are split up. There's a battle on Titan. There's Thor and Rocket and Groot over here trying to forge this new hammer. There's the squad back on Earth fighting in New York and then Wakanda. And there's a bunch of disparate groups in the film. And I really, really wanted to see all of the combos and all of the team-ups that we hadn't seen.
The closest thing that we had to that was Bucky and Rocket. When Bucky just picked him up and
he's spinning him around.
That was cool.
That part is really satisfying.
And the battle on Titan. Battle on Titan was the closest thing that we're
because you get Star-Lord, Doctor Strange, Iron Man. You get a bunch of different ones. And the whole, like, I mean, the theater, the first time I saw the movie, the theater lost its mind when Thor, Rocket, and Groot descended into Wakanda on the Bifrost, and he jumps up and does that big lightning smash.
That was cool.
Oh, everybody, that almost brought the house down.
Yeah.
So that was really cool, but I'm not going to lie. After Hulk got his ass beat in the first scene and he didn't come back out, I was kind of disappointed.
Yeah, I was too.
But it makes sense, though. I have another theory on Hulk. Gamma radiation is very limited in space.
So
now, he could be completely tapped from gamma radiation, and Hulk is just kind of psychologically and physically drained. Or it could just be the psychological
thing.
So,
I think
he says no a lot.
I think Thanos.
No.
Yeah, I think Thanos whopped him. Like the way I describe it is Thanos treated Hulk like the Hulk treats everybody else.
Yeah,
pretty much.
He slammed him like the Hulk slams everybody.
I'm not gonna lie. I saw that. I was like, ooh,
he had never
Thanos
been
is not playing around.
Like that before.
He was hitting him with them jabs and uppercuts. I'm like, oh man.
And so. I mean, there's story precedent for it, but they kind of threw us for a loop because in that trailer they show everybody charging. They throw
Cap,
the
Hulk was
Black Panther, Black Widow, Hulk in the back, War Machine, Falcon. They're all charging towards the screen, and Hulk is there. He is. He's in his Hulk form,
and they changed it to that Iron Man suit.
They totally okey doked us on that one. Maybe they did change the assets from the Hulk to the Hulkbuster because they're kind of similar.
But the Hulkbuster was in the trailer.
No, it was, but I had always assumed that the Hulkbuster was being remotely controlled by Iron Man, and that was before I knew that Iron Man was on Titan.
Right,
yeah.
I thought that Iron Man was still on Earth, and he was remotely controlling the Hulkbuster, and the Hulk was just out and about doing his thing.
Can we talk about how much a bitch Pepper Potts is?
Yeah.
The fact that she is
awful.
so self-centered that she wants Tony get off that spaceship right now.
Just awful.
Last minute, I'm pregnant. Like, what?
And this goes back to the Iron Man 3 discussion, and I didn't bring it up the first time. Tony Stark blows up all of his suits at the end to prove that he's like dedicated to her, and she's like, "Okay, we're together now again." And he has the arc reactor removed from his chest. And all is well.
She was still complaining about that.
And then you see him. Yeah, she's still complaining. And then you see him later in Age of Ultron, and Steve Rogers or not Age of Ultron. You see him in Civil War, and Steve is like, "Hey, where's Pepper? I didn't see her." And he goes, "Yeah, we're kind of on the rocks." And it's like, so that still wasn't enough.
Right.
Him blowing up his entire arsenal of suit, like you
want that. She wants that chest going.
You just don't.
Well,
there's nothing
the
to please
arc reactor
you.
is completely gone, and
he only has that in the movie because it has his nanites in there that'll form over his body.
Now, if only treat like a pen or like that, just kind of hiding it
in the
from
comics.
her,
He does actually. In the comics, he does just have. He can just wear
it's
it.
His self.
It actually comes out of his skin. It's called the Extremis. They allude to it in Iron Man 3 by calling it the Extremis program. So he actually does have that. But the point of the whole gist of the matter is fuck Pepper Potts. Like
seriously, go get yourself a Russian like freaking
aliens are descending and destroying your planet, and the man that you love has the skills and the technical know-how to save people, and you're worried about just get off that ship and come be with me and what? Die?
I know, right?
Die with everybody?
I'm really hoping she faded away. You know, just keep her in the stone.
And you'll notice, by the way, that they did not show what becomes of her at the end. Oh. You don't see whether or not she fades away or not.
Well, what is she going to use her fire powers to stop Thanos?
She doesn't even have those anymore. They removed those. Iron Man 3 is such a disaster.
You know, the only good part about that film is the guy that looks like Borat.
Ooh.
the freaking...
I know you're not talking about Ben Kingsley.
Ben Kingsley.
No, he does not look like Borat.
In that film, he looks like Borat.
With his
trigger.
No, he does not.
Okay, whatever.
He has a ponytail. Borat has like the flat. I'm not even getting into this.
The beard.
No, don't.
Whatever.
Shame
you
on you.
You knew who I was talking about, though. So
yeah, because that's the only one who even vaguely approximates it. But no,
okay,
Ben Kingsley.
Whatever.
What a waste of a brilliant actor.
You got restarted. You got restarted.
Okay, so I want to come back to a note that no one that I know of has seen. The ship that Thor, Loki, and the rest of the Asgardians are on was judged by Thanos. Thanos judges by killing half of a people. Half of the ship was removed.
Speaking of Valkyrie, she might have been in that half of the ship.
Yep. When you watch the beginning of the film, when it's actually blown up, the ship, when he is shooting at it from afar and his ship still, half of the ship breaks off and goes the other way. It is forced the other way, and they stop shooting at the ship once the ship separates, and it is judged by Mauve and everybody else. So that leads me to believe that Meek, my little favorite guy from Ragnarok, the little worm dude that's got the scissors for hands. I'm really hoping he's still alive.
I don't remember his name, but I remember the Rock guy.
His name is Meek.
His name is Meek?
His name's Meek.
Oh.
Because at the end of the movie,
I can't remember what the Rock guy's name is, but he was always funny. He was really funny in Ragnarok. I just cannot remember.
But yeah,
we'll be seeing him again for sure.
Yeah,
he's too fun. He's the comic relief.
They're gonna bring Valkyrie has to be a lot.
There's no way that they would just waste a character. They wouldn't just introduce her in Ragnarok and then just half the ship is gone and she's all she's off into oblivion, never to be seen again. Right. Like that's a waste. So she will be seen.
Yeah,
that's the whole thing. Like I think that part 2 of Infinity War is really going to be like sweeping the entire roster back into the fold, and it really will just be Avengers army charging on Thanos.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's gonna, and it probably will. You're not probably of the game.
No. You keep picking you up on German.
Oh, fair enough.
Yep. So
I have a very projecting voice. But
we're gonna see them all in the same arena.
I think that the Black Order will make a return.
Yeah.
Just so that it won't just be
and even
one
if
guy
Thanos is defeated,
they're
still going to try to enact Thanos' deeds by going around the universe. I think that they're going to either
continue
they're going to die in a fiery oblivion by the hands of the Avengers, or they're going to just fly off into space just like they do in the comics, where they abandon Thanos when they realize, oh shit, Lady Death isn't on your side anymore. So...
one of the guys at work that I've talked about this with, he brought up something funny. Are the Infinity Stones going to be like the Dragon Balls, where like after they're done, they shoot up into the sky and then they all scatter off into space?
No.
In separate directions. That
would be weird.
And with that being mentioned, what will happen in the? I know that Doctor Strange is going to get the Time Stone back. 100%.
He's going to want it back.
He's going to want it back because it is his sole duty to protect it.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, that's such a potent ability.
The Soul Stone, I believe, will be going back with Adam Warlock.
Probably.
The Power Stone, more than likely, in Division.
In Division?
In Division. Possibly. So that's just a theory.
Vision's whole thing is the Mind Stone, though.
But
plus, if he's done, I mean, they would have to rebuild him.
They would have to rebuild him from the...
Which, if they could make him once, I mean, he was kind of a product of Ultron. So, I mean, there's that little difficulty, but...
Which, wait. Back to that. He was made by Ultron. No, he wasn't.
No. I'm not saying he was made by Ultron. I'm saying he was a byproduct of Ultron's, like... And them making him.
But the thing is, the body was designed and created by Ultron. But the fact of the matter is, that design, even in the movie, the Wakandans, what is the character's name?
The smart
Shuri.
Girl. Shuri?
Yeah, the smart girl in Wakanda. Shuri. She even said to not to Tony Stark, but Bruce Banner, what, did y'all not know how to do this yet? And then
yeah,
was
she
like,
said some science mumbo jumbo.
Yeah, some
about,
science
oh,
mumbo
you didn't
jumbo
know
about
how to
the
do this
connectors.
right, and he goes, "Oh, we didn't even think about it."
Yeah, so they actually designed Vision before Ultron got his hands on it. So,
or not necessarily, but they would have known how to.
But why would she make the comment that he designed him?
No, because she just knew. I forget exactly what her words are because it was really just some sci-fi mumbo jumbo. But she basically said like, "You didn't know how to redirect neurons or something like that." She didn't say like, "Oh, we've had this design forever."
Yeah.
She basically was saying, "If you were going to do this, why didn't you just do it the right way?" So,
right, yeah.
So basically, if they could build Ultron, his body like that the first time, the only component that was missing, well, actually no, because now that I think about it, it was a combination of Jarvis's AI and the Mind Stone. Because he is Jarvis, but he's Jarvis put into a vibranium body and given the Mind Stone, and that's what gives him all of his
free
powers.
Will and all that.
His will, his wisdom. He was able to pick up Thor's hammer because he was pure of heart. He had no earthly desire or whatever to taint him.
The Tesseract shard is where the Mind Stone.
No.
What shard does that come from?
The Mind Stone was originally in Loki's scepter.
Okay, that's what.
Which was what he took to Earth, and he was able to brainwash Hawkeye and that scientist that Thor, Eric Selvig or whatever his name was.
Yeah.
And then he compelled him to build the portal to bring the army down to try and reclaim the cosmic cube and stuff.
Yeah.
So that was that. So Thanos was basically making it. Now that I think about it, he was trying to gamble with one stone to get to double or nothing and get another stone in return.
Yeah.
He was like, "All right, you can have the Mind Stone and the scepter, and you'll go to Earth and try and win me back another stone. So that's just double or nothing."
Right. Yeah.
Which, when I think back to it, the person that was directing Loki, I believe that was Ebony Maw.
No. The speaker. Well, it might have been behind the scenes, but we don't see him. The speaker for Thanos, the one who said, "If you don't come back with this stone, we're gonna grease your ass." Was just the speaker who Ronan snaps his neck in Guardians. In Guardians of the Galaxy, Ronan is standing before Thanos, and he's saying like, I can't remember what his exact line was, and then he was like, "How dare you, Thanos? You talk to me like I'm some type of child." And the speaker is like, "How dare you speak to Thanos this way?" And he just hammers him and snaps his neck. And then Thanos turns around and he's like, "I won't hear discipline like that from you, boy. Like you will not speak to me that." And that's the first time we ever see Thanos turn around and actually stand up and talk to somebody.
Which that chair, that throne room must have gone through a lot of architectural redesign and things like that.
Yeah.
Because every single movie is freaking different.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of those continuity things, different directors and all like that. Imagine how many different movies he's had to be in with that same throne.
True.
And the same thing with his design in the first Avengers movie when he first turns around, the color of his skin and the shape of his armor is nothing like it is in this movie. But I mean, who cares?
And it's been 3 different guys. So.
Now, real quick, did they explain what Gamora was talking about when she was talking to Star-Lord about, "I know something about Thanos that nobody else does"?
That's the map.
That was the map.
That was the
Okay.
map to the Soul
Okay, I just wanted to
Stone.
make sure that was what it was. I just wanted to double check.
And she was basically saying, "If I tell you, then you'll know, and even if he somehow can't get it out of me, then he'll be able to get it out of you."
Right. Okay.
So yeah, she was trying to look out for him.
I mean, we're all really
the whole thing, which by the way, Thanos really likes bubbles.
He does.
That's twice in the
He's
movie
still a
that he
kid at
turned
heart.
things into bubbles and was just like, "Yeah, fuck you." "Oh, you trying to stab yourself to rob me of my sacrifice?" "I don't think so." Bubbles. Like, nah.
I love bubbles.
Yeah.
That was his soft side.
Which, by the way, I mean, me and Calvin have kind of gotten into this, but what happens to Red Skull now? Because his whole thing was he was tethered to that planet by the energy of the Soul Stone, and he was like, "Well, I can't claim this stone because I'm not strong enough, or I don't have
he
a
doesn't
sacrifice."
have someone to love.
Or not that he's not strong enough, but he doesn't have something that
Somebody
he loves
loves
to
enough to do
sacrifice
it,
to
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So he's pretty much trapped there. But now that the Soul Stone is gone, he shouldn't be tethered there anymore.
He could be free to roam the universe again, claim what is his, and
I would love to see him
what
get
about
back to Earth.
Was there any information on what happened to Grandmaster? No, there isn't.
No, at the end of Ragnarok, he's pretty much being cornered by all of the people who
did the revolt.
They were revolting against him, and he made a joke out of it. And of course, Jeff Goldblum being
good
funny.
job.
Yeah, we can't have a revolution without revolutionaries. Congratulations to you guys.
Congratulations.
All right.
Yeah.
So that was the last that we saw of him. But
I'm hoping he's still alive because he was a great addition. Now
I'm glad they got Jeff Goldblum in there.
The Collector, there's a chance that he's still alive.
I think that he actually is still alive
because they were the ancients of the universe. The Grandmaster.
I don't think that they can be killed in conventional ways.
No, he might still be there in like soul, something like that. But he's still there, and the fact that
the Collector is one, the Grandmaster is one. Stan Lee actually in Guardians 2
is technically one
as well when he's talking to those really tall, dome head looking guys with whited out eyes. He's actually, I think his title is like the Watcher or something.
Yeah.
His whole thing is he just watches all of time.
He's pretty much the overseer. So
yeah, sure. So he's one too, but there's two others that aren't accounted for that probably will never be referenced.
Yep.
But as far as that goes, they got the Stan Lee cameo out of the way a little early, I thought.
Well, the thing is, where else would they stab it in?
They wouldn't have him in any of the other.
Would he have been a Wakandan revolutionary?
Well, no, but I'm just saying they really couldn't shoehorn him into any of the battles otherwise because it would have killed the tension.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
How the hell do you work this thing?
Oops, put Stanley in the Hulkbuster. Yeah, they wouldn't have been able to shoehorn it in.
There was literally no human interaction anywhere else, other than in Wakanda, New York. That's it, because everything else was either alien based or
on Titan, or when Thor was reforging his hammer.
They couldn't have.
Reforging his hammer, which by the way, we haven't brought that up. Stormbreaker's in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
So for people who know Thor, Stormbreaker is Beta Ray Bill's hammer. Of course, Beta Ray Bill is one of those side characters that was never going to get any play in this movie, but he did get a reference in Ragnarok. He made an appearance as a statue on Grandmaster's Tower.
Yep.
You see like 4 different metal faces or what have you, busts, if you will. And one of them, I believe, is Hulk, but another one is Beta Ray Bill. So that's the closest we're ever going to get to him.
Mm-hmm.
It is possible that he was defeated by Hulk, so that's another option.
Although in the comics, he actually defeats Hulk. He technically defeats Thor, and that's how he gets Stormbreaker to begin with, because he was fleeing from his universe, which was being eaten by Galactus. But that's a whole other can of worms.
And Galactus is actually here.
Sure, and we can't have Galactus in this universe, so it doesn't really matter. Yeah. But Stormbreaker did get to make an appearance, and it can summon the Bifrost, which is another cool element of it that Thor's hammer actually didn't have. Mjolnir couldn't summon the Bifrost. Or could it? No. He had to call Heimdall every time. He would hold the hammer up, and Heimdall, it's almost like a beacon that Heimdall would be able to see with his soul eyes.
I mean, Heimdall's eyes and his armor have the soul stone the chest
that's still one of those.
It makes me cringe.
One of those loose ends that's like, wow, they could have totally made him have the soul stone.
And that would have been 2 stones in the first 10 minutes. Though.
And it would have fit. Yeah, that would have been for. Yeah,
that would have been like, oh, I'm already OP. Time to destroy Earth.
He would have had 3 out of 6 within 15 minutes. So yeah, that wouldn't have been. That wouldn't have worked.
Cool. I wish they would have done a backflash to Xandar. The destruction of Xandar.
See, I thought about that on the last episode, and I'm actually kind of glad they didn't. It might be a deleted scene, but I don't need to see that.
No, I want to be see the guy from Step Brothers just be like, hey, here's a stone. There you go.
Because all that would have been 2 minutes of seeing Thanos just whop everybody.
Yeah, I would pay to see that.
He would have set foot on that planet, laid waste to everyone right in front of him, and then just grabbed the stone and left. So there's no real need to see that.
I want to see it.
Oh, well. Yay, buy the Blu-ray. That might be a feature.
Get the bonus content.
So, yeah. I think we've squozed the lemon enough. I think we've had enough information for everybody. I mean, what do you say, people? Oh, wait, we're not live. Haha.
Yeah, that's right. This ain't live entertainment, Calvin.
We definitely want to do a recap of what's going to happen this week. We did mention it earlier in the episode. We will be ending the episode very briefly, especially since we've almost done an hour and a half of content tonight. So I want to bring up the fact that on Thursday nights from now on, we're going to be doing live streams of video games. We don't know what is going to be happening next week or the week after that. The week after that, I'm more than likely going to be out of the town, so we won't be able to do a stream that week, but we may be able to record another episode of Commenting on Comics or Remake Roundup.
Or I would like to bring this up now, and while we're being recorded, how would everyone feel about a Q&A episode?
I have
not
heard
necessarily
something like that, yeah.
Not necessarily next week, but we would
Sometime soon, yeah.
Maybe the end of May, give us a chance to actually build up enough questions to be able to do a good long, like hour and a half, 2 hour show, basically just on people's questions. And it could be based on anything. It could be on movies, comics, video games,
information, ourselves, things like that. Just know social security number, last four of your phone number.
Yeah, we could give out our credit card information.
Yeah,
it'll be a great time for everybody.
Excellent.
But we could, if you wanted to, you could send that in to, I guess, your email or my.
We're gonna go ahead and post in the new email, the one that is for the actual channel, which is the popculturepeasants@gmail.com. You can email anything you want to into that one now.
Artwork would be appreciated.
Much appreciated. Now that you all
Thank
know
you
what we look like
ahead of time.
Yeah, we need to get the artwork rolling. But we will be posting to YouTube every episode. After this one, we're gonna have a full episode full of video, hopefully. But unfortunately, due to unforeseen circumstances,
due to hardware difficulties.
Yes, we're gonna figure that out by next episode, and we hope to see you back here. Now, I do want to also bring up the fact that maybe next Tuesday we're going to have an episode on Deadpool 2 because of the fact that it is steadily approaching, and I don't believe that we're going to be able to do another recording by the time Deadpool 2 comes out.
When is it released?
So,
and then
the 18th.
It should be the 18th, and then due to Calvin's vacation falling in, at this point in time, we're going to have to go ahead and see Deadpool at a later time than the release date. I will probably see it the day it comes out.
Up the calendar.
While Calvin's looking at that, I will be seeing it almost undoubtedly on the release date, but I will see it again with these fellas so that we can all come back and kind of do something similar to what we're doing here, where we can comment on it while it's fresh in our minds.
Which I believe helped out a lot.
Sure.
Especially with Jermis. Thank God Jermis talked tonight. We are definitely
this is the last time you heard from me again.
Of bulldozing over Jermis, so let it never be said that we do that.
This will be the last time you hear my voice.
So, the 18th is a Friday. We will be doing another thing like tonight, except the fact that we will be doing, from now on, I believe, a great way to do this is once a month, if there is a movie that we're interested in or a game that we're interested in, we're going to play it on Tuesday night, and then we're going to do a
commentary on it,
and we're going to do it live. Instead of doing a live podcast every week, we're going to go ahead and just cut that out and just the actual Commenting on Comics podcast recorded, posted to YouTube, SoundCloud, iTunes, and Google Play, so for your viewing experience. And then once a month, we'll do our Tuesday night game, movie, TV, whatever the hell we want to do.
From now on, it should be on a more regular schedule, especially since my work schedule has been changed. We should be able to do our Tuesday audio, video recording will be on various topics. It may be commenting on comics. It could be, like we said earlier, the remake roundup, the Q&As. We're going to be bouncing and brainstorming about different topics of discussion that we could do on Tuesdays. But as far as Thursdays are concerned,
all video
we will be doing nothing but gaming on Thursdays, and those will be live streamed.
Yep.
They, of course, will be uploaded later to YouTube in the various formats that we have available as well. But we've kind of arrived at the decision that the whole live streaming thing is more conducive to gaming. Interacting with the audience over a game is a little bit more logical than doing it as opposed to a podcast.
Yeah. Whereas a podcast is meant to inform or entertain.
Sure,
it's a lot
and
easier this way.
It's more of us bouncing ideas off each other and then you guys critiquing it later, whereas gaming can be a little bit more involved. That by no means, are we saying that we don't value your criticism, of course, though. We just think that would be a better way to conduct that. And, of course, with the rebranding, we are... the Pop Culture Peasants is the channel, which will be the umbrella under which all of this will be done. and then commenting on comics will be a segment. We will be doing our various Twitch streams probably outside of the Pop Culture Peasant streams.
It'll still be tied to the same channel.
Sure. No. It'll still be tied to the same channel, but in the event that these guys have things to do and there's a game that I want to play, for instance, I have a PlayStation and Calvin does not. So, for example, if I wanted to play God of War and do a Let's Play of that, Calvin is giving me a scowl right now because I'm a dirty PlayStation peasant, apparently.
How dare he?
Even though now
but that's
I have
why
a
we're
PC.
here.
But that's why we're here, and it's all about diversity of video games and all like that. Yep. So if in the event that these guys don't have a game and I do, and I just want to do a quick little upload, I can do that myself, and vice versa for everybody.
And that's what we want to recommend. We want to be variety. We want to be able to give you as much information as we can. And that's why all three of us are different people. Jermis is a tech guru. Me, I'm a movie and TV buff. And then Reed is like, I don't know.
I'm a weeaboo. And that's all.
A little bit of.
I'm just a giant
little seasoning of other stuff.
Sure.
He knows about anime.
That's
I know about
anime
anemones as well. I'm an expert on this.
And definitely keep your eye on our new Twitter page, which is I think it's Pop Cult Peasants.
At Pop Cult Peasants, yes.
Let me look it up.
Hashtag
I made it last night.
At Pop C. It is at Pop
We're
Cult
a work in progress, in case you couldn't tell.
Yeah, it's up and
Make sure
coming.
you hashtag at Pop C.
But this way, it'll be a little bit easier to reach out to us. We won't be a disparate thing spread out over different platforms. It will be more centralized, and it'll be able to it'll enable us to reach out to our audience a little bit better as well.
Yep.
I promised these guys that I would break my golden rule and make a Twitter account, provided that the audience grows a little bit more and it becomes necessary.
You know what to do, guys.
So if you guys follow enough and share enough and get the word out enough, you will force me to completely break my principles and basically forsake myself.
Doesn't that sound like fun?
Yeah.
Doesn't that sound like fun?
Don't you want to see that happen?
Browbeating a man into forsaking his values.
Converting.
It sounds fun to me.
For now, the panhandle or whatever the hell you want to call it to get to our Twitter page is actually at Pop Cult Peasants. So remember, that is at Pop Cult Peasants. Right now, we are trying to get the name changed from Commenting on Comics as the main name on Google Play and iTunes. But if you're looking for us on iTunes and Google Play in the next week, which is the week of the 1st, it will still be under Commenting on Comics. But after that, we will futurely be known as Pop Culture Peasants. So we definitely hope to see you next week for our episode on Deadpool 2 or the Venom trailer breakdown, the actual trailer breakdown. So we definitely encourage you to come back, listen to us again, and definitely hit us with those ats on Twitter and things like that. So have a good night.
Now, last thing I'll say, as I understand, this will be the first thing that is natively uploaded to our new Pop Cult Peasants YouTube channel.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to search us up on YouTube, this should be the first thing you see. We are in the process of downloading all of the other content that we had under the previous name of Commenting on Comics downloaded to that as well. So it'll all be in one location, so it's easy for you guys to find.
Yep.
So with that in mind, I appreciate everybody that's watching, subscribing, following. We couldn't do this without you. Anything that you can do to support the channel as far as either donations, artwork, just general words of encouragement, we very much appreciate all of it.
Yeah, we do. Thank you, guys. We appreciate it a lot. Make sure you share if you got.
We're working to make this
interested.
better so that we can, professionalize
Become
ourselves
better.
more and
Help us help you help us.
Sure.
So the more you
It's
get
like
that
a
word out
triple
about
agent
us,
helping relationship.
yeah, the more you help us, the more we can help you. The more content we can produce and that sort. So we definitely encourage you to spread the word about us to your friends that you will be entertaining to and things like that. So the word of mouth is the easiest way to go about this.
We are going to be upping our capabilities as far as these audio video recordings are concerned. We've been in talks of being able to play video over the feed as well as pulling up articles about relevant information. So look forward to that in the future. We're still working some things out, obviously. We are a learning machine here.
Eventually we'll get it right. Right now we are undergoing some construction with the computer, so we will have one computer dedicated to the audio and one computer dedicated to the video. so we will not be having to splice the audio, which triples the quality. So we'll be good. So
that will make it easier as well for one of us to remain on the desktop to sort of manage all of the inputs and be able to bring up certain information that we need right on the fly.
So eventually we're going to do something like Geek Squad does. They're going to have a panel on the desk, has everything up on it, a screen on the desk, and then we'll have a mouse and keyboard for the person in the driver's seat to be able to.
Right. So that should make it easier. But that's about it for tonight.
That's
I think,
a good
guys. Like you said, we squeezed about all we can out of Infinity War. We are very tired. This movie is not only about 3 hours long, but it's also emotionally exhausting, and I can speak for two men on this panel that we have work in the morning.
Absolutely.
I have class at 9 a.m.
So we very much appreciate all of the views, subscriptions, follows, all of that stuff. So please share this with your friends if you think they're interested.
Doesn't feel like 11.
And just let us know what you guys think in the comments about the movie. If you guys did see it.
Please offer criticisms and critiques in the comments about what you think we could do better, and we will make adjustments accordingly.
Of course.
So with that, I am Reed McKinney. It has been great talking to you guys.
All right, and I'm Calvin Carson, and I'm signing off for the night. I hope you enjoyed.
And I'm Jermis Wimbush, and not Thanos.
Okay.
Well, that's good night.
Ball sack
take you guys out later.
No.
Peace.